Hello, this is Mr. Jones. I wanted to go over the course syllabus with you. If your student is in my pre-AP geometry class, this is for you. So just like a brief introduction to the class and what expectations to have. So one of the first questions I always get is about homework. How much homework is there going to be in a pre-AP math class? And this year I think I have a pretty good idea of how much time I'm going to have to spend. I'm going to make videos, so students will be watching videos and taking notes over those videos at home. And these videos will be 10 to 15 minutes in length. So they should not spend any more than 15 minutes taking notes. So it's basically going to be for the definitions, just the basic notes that they could do at home. And that'll free up more time in class to do problems and problem solving, practice problems, and so forth. So when they're at home, they're going to get a video pretty close to what you're doing right now, watching the video with their PowerPoint presentation. They're going to be taking down basic definitions the first week, like the definition of a point, the definition of a line, the definition of a plane, and they're going to do that through a video at home. Again, this should take about 10 to 15 minutes. It is possible that of a student later on in the year when we start to get into where we have geometry relationships that have some algebra built into it. Like if you have two angles that are equal and the problem is one angle is x plus 80 and the other angle is 90, well now you have to set up an algebra expression. X plus 80 equals 90. The two angles are equal. Well, if they're struggling with their algebra, they might have to look at some review videos, so that might increase their homework time a little bit. But if they're strong with their Algebra 1, their homework should be no longer than 15 minutes. Both watching the video itself and taking notes over the video are not optional. So they have to watch the video. It's going to be housed on Edpuzzle, and that will show me what portions each student watched. It'll show me if they watched it more than once. If they watched it 2 or 3 times, I'll see that. And they also have to take notes over that, and I will grade the notes. When they come into class, I'm going to ask them for their notebooks, and I will grade their notes. So both the video also has quiz questions built into it, so they will receive probably 1 grade for both of those things. I'll somehow count the notes as 50%, and then watching it in the quiz questions as 50%. So it's going to be 1 grade. And as the year goes on, I might not check it every day. If the students are doing it every day, I might end up just going to where I check it once a week and so forth. But it will be graded. How often? It depends on how the class is going. All right, so that's homework. Supplies, that's another big question I get. I'm going to keep supplies very simple. So they need a spiral notebook. That could be 1 subject or 5 subjects. They'll probably, if they get a 1 subject, they're going to need multiple during a year, but it's also lighter for them to carry around. I know they have 7 other classes and they might have a full load, so maybe a 1 subject spiral notebook, and then each 9 weeks they could change it out and get another one as they fill it up. Depending on how small, how large they write, will depend on how many they will need. Or they could get 1 5 subject. That should probably last them the full year, of not very close to full year. I'm not going to accept notes on separate paper. If they just hand me a separate sheet of paper, that will not be accepted. It needs to be in a spiral notebook. I don't want to see the same notes in 3 or 4 different classes, and I know that will happen if I allow them to. They'll pass it around from one student to another. I've been teaching long enough to know that will happen. So it needs to be in a spiral notebook. It needs to have their names on it, or else I will not accept it. And then everything else is just kind of basic that they should be using for every class. So the only thing they need special for my class is a spiral notebook. They need to have a pen and pencil, so they need to be prepared each day to do their classwork. They need to bring their Chromebook. That's very critical. We will be using their Chromebook an awful lot in my class. There are several really good programs for learning geometry, like GeoGebra and Desmos. Those are online programs. websites that are very useful, and we'll be using those a lot. And then there's just some optional things. I know that looking at the different students, sometimes you have 3 or 4 different siblings, and Chromebooks are $30 a piece for insurance, and all the other supplies, those can add up. So I'm not making this required, but if you could send some tissues and AAA batteries for the calculator, I'd appreciate that, but I'm not going to make that mandatory. So thank you so much. Grades and retakes. So major grades, which include district learning checks, my own teacher test, major projects, those all add up to 60% of the grade. So how many ever of those I give, you take the average, and that's going to be kind of 6 of 10 parts of their grade. The other 4 of 10 parts will come from their homework. That's 40%. So you add up all their homework and classwork grades and minor projects, and that will be 40% of their grade. Retakes. Students scoring below an 85 on a test or quiz will be given the opportunity to do a retake on the test or the quiz, whichever it is that they scored below an 85, and they will be given 1 week from the time they get it back. So when I hand it to them, I hand them their grade. They have 1 week to come in to redo that quiz or test. And that will be during my tutorials. I normally will set apart one morning, one afternoon each week, in which they could come in and do their test. So the other days I'm going to be doing tutorials, and I can't have students doing tutorials and students taking the test at the same time. So certain days will be for tutorials, certain days will be for testing. So this brings me to tutorials. I will be available for tutorials from 7:45 until 8:15 in the mornings, and from 4:05 until 4:35 in the afternoons. The days are to be determined still, because I don't have my duty schedule yet, but I'm sure it's going to be at least 3 mornings and 3 afternoons. Probably 4 of one and 3 of the other. So once I get my duty schedule, I'll email out my tutorial schedule to you. But I know the times. The times will be 7:45 to 8:15, and then 4:05 to 4:35. Students have to do a full retake on a test. So if they fail the test, it's probably, I would suggest that they come in the afternoon, because that 4:35 stop time is loose. They need 50 minutes to finish that test. I can stay until 4:55. But in the mornings, if they come in 7:45 and at 8:15, we have to start getting ready to go to our first period. So I can extend time, and my policy is once they have begun a test, they're not going to be able to get that test back. They can't see and preview questions, go home, and come back and do that. So once they have started the test, they need to complete it. So I would suggest they come in the afternoons to do their retest. If they can't make the afternoons, we can do the mornings, and I might even set apart 2 mornings for them to do the test, so they could do half of it on one day and half of it on another day. All right, so that's all I really have as far as my syllabus goes. If you have any questions for me, please email me. I will give you my home number if you need that, but you'll need to email me for that, and we could talk anytime you have any type of concerns. Please contact me or one of the assistant principals. I'm really looking forward to this year and having your student in my pre-AP geometry class. I think it's going to be a lot of fun this year, and I'm looking forward to it. So thank you so much. Bye.